Okie dokie. Artichoke. Lindy K and Sean. Hey lady and dude. Well, I don't know if you're both there. How do I know who's there? Hello. Let's doodle. Oh, goodness. Sounds like I should get my brain functioning before I'm allowed to doodle. All right. There are 2.5 minutes till showtime. Woo-hoo-hoo. I have to take my sweater off because a minute ago I was freezing and now I'm roasting. Oh yeah. There we go. I feel better. Good evening, Leslie. Doodles. Oh, I'm glad you like the birdies. We got some birdie buddies. I didn't mean to, but it looks like my standy up bird is pecking my sit down bird right in the head. Aw, that's not very nice. That's not quite what I meant to do, but you know, maybe he's just fixing the feathers. All right. We're going to be adding another new friend today to the picture. At least one. Oh my goodness. We're going to have an exciting night, I think. Lindy, if I'm correct, you have not followed along as of yet. I think I remember you saying that. So, just grab a piece of scratch paper and another piece of paper and a pen and a pencil, and that's all you will need, and you can play along today and see how you like it if you want to. It's a love peck. There you go. It's just, I mean, they don't look hostile, so it must be. They're not hostile birdies. What do you think, though? This is the whole first half of our book. For anybody who's making the book part, I mean, you can just do little pieces with us anytime anybody sits in, right? But if you're doing the whole book, this is the first half. And it's not done today, but after today, it's going to look very different than it does right now. So keep in mind what it's looking like right now. And I hope that at the end of tonight, everybody's going to be amazed by their own work. This one, I mean, 5 weeks ago, I guess. I don't remember the date. I mean, I should know these things, shouldn't I? Excuse me, Mr. Malik. Oh, and it's time to start the show. I'm sorry, but you and your tail have to go elsewhere. Honey Bunch. Honey Bunch is okay. You have to go elsewhere, honey. No, don't come back. You're going to come back anyway. Malik, how about you go here? What if I make a space over there? Will you go over there? Go over there, Pumpkinhead. Come on, over here. Over here. There. Lay down over there. Okay, guys. Well, it's time to get started anyway. So if you're going to be drawing along, grab your pencil and your scratch paper, and I will start teaching today's first part. We're going to make a new friend to go in our gardens. And I'm going to draw one complete one as a sample first while we sit and give people a couple minutes to get settled in. And then I will start the lesson. So don't feel like you have to follow along with this part, because I'm not going to say much. I'm just going to draw. So here is what we're doing today. We're doing a snail. Oh, can you even see him? Oh, look how washed out that is. Can we even see him? Oh, there he is. We're doing that. I'm going to do that again because you didn't see any of that, did you? So, he's going to have a buddy, I guess. There. I'll do it again. We're going to draw a snail today. Hello, Darcy. Good evening. I don't know if you heard. You might have heard because you might have been in the background somewhere, but I am just demonstrating what we're going to draw. We're not teaching yet. We're giving people a few minutes to get here and get settled in. But we're going to be adding this little guy to our gardens today first. And then we're going to do some really important stuff. Good evening, Lisa. How is Thursday morning? How is your Thursday morning? Okay. Let's draw some snails. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about how you draw this guy. And as you saw, it's pretty darn easy, really. I mean, it took me like nothing, right? I think just proportions and the look that you really want are the only two tricky parts. And there is a rule of thumb that's easy to remember. If you want your snail to face left, you make your spiral to the left. And if you want your snail to face right, you make your spiral to the right. Let's do it. I'll do it. Here we go. So I want my snail today to face left. So I'm going to pick a starting spot where I want my snail to be. And I always like to go up a little bit. I don't know why, but don't count the up part. That's just me. But I'm going to go to the left because I want him to face left. So I'm going to go left to make my spiral. And I can make this as small or as big as I want. I may have gotten a little carried away, so I'm going to do that again. If I had longer paper, I could totally put a snail here. But I'm going to do it again. So just pick a starting spot, and if I want him to face left, so I'm going to curve to the left. I won't go up this time. See if I can resist. On my last curve around, I'm going to go about 1/3 down the side. This is my last coil. I'm at the top, and I'm going to go about 1/3 down. Like so. Maybe more like half. I'm going to go halfway down the curve. There we go. Once you decide where you want your spiral to stop and you've come about halfway down, remember to turn your paper instead of your hand and make a curve into the shell. You can see on this one and on a lot of them, I'll make it a little fancier. That's just a little swoop more like that. It doesn't matter what kind you make. You make whatever kind you want. A simple swoop for a more humble snail. A backward S kind of deal for a fancy snail. And I'm going to turn my paper over and do it again, because I think it warrants demonstrating a bunch of times. All right. So I want my snail to face left, so I'm going to curve to the left. So I'm just going to swirl. however many times I want my snail to have a shell. I'm going to go about halfway down, and sometimes I curl out like that too. Did here, didn't here, doesn't matter. Then I'm going to join the opening of the shell with the body of the shell. There we go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, I promise. Again, turn the paper, not your hand, when you need to do something that feels a little awkward. So I'm going to show you how to do the body, and I'm going to do it in little steps. So I'm going to go, this is the very bottom, obviously. And I'm going to go up the side just a little bit. So barely up the curve, and this is going to be my starting point right here. And I'm going to give my snail a tail. And I'm just going to kind of wiggly it to where I think the ground is. So there's not a whole lot of snail between the shell and the ground. There's just little oozy bits. So this doesn't have to go down a lot. But I'm just going to wiggle a little bit to where I think the ground is. And then I'm going to also wiggle all the way across. So right now I've wiggled all the way across to where the ending of the shell is. And I'm just going to go a little past that when I curve up. Okay, so I've gone from the tail to the ground, all the way across where the ground is to the end of the shell, and then I'm going to curve up and out to make this snail's body. And I'm going to take his body just a little bit past the shell ending, this pointy part. And then I'm going to curve out for his head. When I make a snail head, I really think of kind of a triangle. You make yours how you want. I've seen them round and rectangly and more squarish, and it doesn't matter. But I think rectangle. So I come out like this, right? A little hook. And then I think triangle. So there's his nose and the top of his head. And then I go back like that. There's my triangle. But I don't close it, right? I just do these parts of the triangle, and then I'm gonna sort of aura, a very wide aura, albeit, but aura, that's when you follow another line, right? So I'm gonna take that line and follow the line of his body right down to the opening of his shell. Did that make any sense? Does everybody got it? Should I do it again or 10 more times, or... Well, hello, Maxine. How are you today? We're drawing snails right now. Then I do little base for his eyeballs, and then his eyeballs. You know what really bothers me? That those are the snail's eyes. I really want his eyes to be right here. But that's not his eyes. That's like his nose. I don't know. Okay. Do you guys want to hear something really gross? Okay, I'm going to tell you anyway, because you can't answer me in time to shut me up if you don't want to hear it. But say la 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 or plug your ears. But snails go to the bathroom out of their shell right here. They poo all over their own neck. I did not know that. Sorry. Snail anatomy is fascinating, to tell you the truth. Okay, so for anybody who's drawing along, if you would like me to do this all again from the very beginning, please say so. And I will go ahead and do this again from the beginning. Yup. There's a very round head. This one's very round too. I must have been feeling very roundy snails when I did the fast ones. I know, that's gross, huh? Snails are disgusting. Who knew? think this one needs a body. Great big snail. Running right into the other snail. In fact, that snail looks like it needs a new home because that house is looking a little small for him. All right, I guess I won't go ahead and do it all over again for practice. I don't see anybody saying, yeah, let's practice it one more time. So I'm going to pull out my card where my snail is going to go. And this space that we left underneath last week's flower is where I want the snail to go. You can put your snail anywhere you like. And you can put something else in this space if you want to. But this is the, this is the guy that I had intended for this spot. So I'm just going to guess and absolutely 100% do this in pencil first. Because if you don't get them where you want them, you got to be able to move this guy. So I think I'm going to have him, is he going to be coming out from under the flower or is he going to be tucked into the flower? I think I'll put him tucked in. I don't know why, but I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, here we go. I want him facing left, so I circle to the left. And I think I want some close spirals. And then I'll get bigger and bigger. Like so. I don't know if I love that one, but remember, if it's in pencil, we can always fix it later. And I think he's up too high, even. Ugh. Yeah, I'm going to erase mine. Oh, I want it down farther in what is going to be the ground. Okay, I'm going to try that again. I'm going to move down a little bit. Circle to the left because I want him facing left. Wow, I changed him completely. Alright, well, I kind of like it, so I'm going to stick to it, I think. But look I didn't raise it up at all. Wow, am I a creature of habit or what? I was going to leave it, but that is hilarious. I started at a new spot, but ended at the exact same spot. Oh, wow. Okay, try that again. All right, I'm just going to live with whatever that is. I don't like where his neck is. I want it, because I want him sitting up like that, right? So I won't down too far. I want it more like that. That is an option, though, guys. If you take your, excuse me, if you take your snail shell opening down far like this, the head of your snail can totally be going out like that. Right? He can just be oozing along, as snails do. And there's the snail opening. Good grief. Okay, well anyway, I want a city up snail, not a lay down snail. So now I'm going to do the tail. Body, curve, triangle-ish thingy, and about curve in part, and the little tentacle things that his eyeballs go on. There's my guy. Aw, ain't he cute? Well, good evening, Kim. Nice to see you. We're drawing snails today. Would you like me to show you how we're going to draw snails? I can start another demo one if you'd like. In fact, I'm going to anyway because I'm going to show you guys what's next if you want to. This is completely optional, but you're going to see me do it on my snail, and you might want it on your snail too. Who knows? But my snail is about to get very happy. I know, very fancy. Here we go. So, there's our basic snail, right? There's our basic snail so far. This one has a giant head. Good grief. And apparently a giant eyeball too. Oh my gosh. This one must be the boss snail. Anyway, here's what I'm gonna do to decorate my snail. I don't really, okay, so right about here, I'm gonna do I don't know what you call that. Basically a shepherd's hook with a circle on the end. And I'm gonna do another one right here, and another one right here, and another one right here, and probably another one right there. And watch this. Now I'm gonna do some letter S's from one curve to the other. Now my snail has a very fancy fin on his shell. I know, snails don't have fins on their shells, but my snail has a fin on his shell. You too can have a snail with fins if you like. I'll be doing this slower on my shell on my card in just a second, like right now even. Well, hello, Kiki. You are not late. You're fine. You are just peachy keen jelly bean. And if you want to catch up on this snail when you're done making your dinner, holler at me and I will draw the snail again. Okay, so I have my snail in place and I want the fancy variety. So I'm going to go ahead and this one's going to be a little bit different, I think. In that I'm going to start small and get bigger as I go. So each one of these little hooks with the circle on the end is going to get a little bigger than the one before it. So that last one is the biggest. It runs right into the flowers that I've already colored in dark red too. So that's going to make drawing this guy a little interesting. But hey, I'm up to the challenge. Now, once you get these little hooks with the circles at the end in place, you start at the crook, follow that circle around and jump off, and then create an elongated S to join it with the next crook. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to start right in that spot and follow the circle around till, till about the bottom, maybe just slightly coming up. And then that S shape to the next one. Start in the crook, follow the circle to the bottom or slightly past, and have it join up with the next circle. And my last one, like so. There we go. One fancy snail. Aw, ain't cute. All right. Good evening, Becky. We are drawing snails in our garden right now. Would you like to draw a snail? I can start over and show you how to draw this particular snail. And then when we get to the next part, for if there's anybody who hasn't followed along for the whole book, if you are trying to follow along and give it a shot for this little guy right here, the rest of what we do tonight will create a mini garden all around this little guy. So your snail will have a home to live in, even if this is your only night trying this out. So don't you worry about your little guy being homeless. We will be creating stuff all around and about this little guy. Okay, so I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use a sepia, so basically a brown marker for drawing this guy in. I can break it down into little parts, and then you too will think that this little guy is easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So he's facing left, so our coil starts to the left. Any lines that I don't care for, I'm going to adjust whatever little bit I can. Apparently not very well though, goodness sakes. I'm making a big old mess out of this poor little guy. I think, okay, so if you also have these fine liners, and if you're not used to them, I know some people have purchased these just for this doodling. Silly kids. But if you're not used to these yet, then I am using the biggest, fattest one, not the smartest idea. I'm going to go ahead and pick the smallest one I have to finish up his body and his fins, because I think that I can do a better job of detailing the delicate parts of my buddy here. I'm going to skip over his eyeball. And then tuck his body right into that shell. And I'm going to close the shell around him just by making that little tiny hook right there. Then I'm going to put his fin in. And it looks like I made part of his fin go behind his head. So I'll just skip that little part. And then when I get to erasing the cheat pencil parts, okay, the guides, they're not cheating, but when I go to erase the guides, that will look much better. And there we go. And there we go. And there we go. Now all I have to do is my S's joining the fin into one long fin. So something you might want to be thinking about is all of that space on his shell can be filled in with patterns. You don't just have to make the shell one color. Think of how you chose a style for your flowers if you were here for other weeks, right? And you chose a style for how you want your garden to look. Think of ways that you can add your own style to this guy too. for right now, I'm not really going to add much of anything. What I am going to do is make sure all of my lines get a little cleaned up because I made a mess of them. I'm going to color in this little speck where his body tucks in. And then a long time ago, I showed how wherever there's a harsh joining of lines, I like to curve those. For this guy's fin, I want to do that. So every place where a line harshly meets another line. So this very start of the fin meets his shell in a very, you know, street crossing way. I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but all I'm going to do is curve, put a little curve right there and right there, both directions. And it's just going to make it look much more attached to our snail buddy. And I'm going to go and do that at every spine to his fin. Like so. Just a little tiny curve in the left direction and a little tiny curve in the right direction. Seriously, mister? Oh, goodness sakes. What did you do? Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Yikes. Okay. Okay, back to doodling. Okay. If you're wondering what catastrophe is going on in my studio, that would be Revan. He's the biggest cat, and he is a sizable boy. And he just jumped up to his favorite shelf, and that's what happens when he jumps in my room. Shakes the whole gosh darn place. He's a big boy. I'm going to do the same thing right here where his tail meets his body. I do have some wiggles in his tail, so it's not as harsh, but I don't want any harsh lines in my snail. None. So I'm going to do the same thing right here where his body meets his shell too. That's just a personal taste kind of part. So if you don't mind the harsh lines, you keep them. Maybe your snail is a steampunk snail. I don't know. Maybe those harsh spots are perfect for your snail. I don't judge snails. Well, hello, Teresa. Easy peasy grape squeezy. Is that what you meant, Becky? Because if it is, yes, it can be. Last thing I'm going to do for my snail before I start erasing my guidelines is just fill in the circles at the end of his spines. That's it. That is it. Now, if you are working in pencil and pen this evening, make sure your pen is fully dry before you do the erasing. I have been a very, very poor doodle teacher and failed to mention that several times, and I have caused people to ruin their artwork. I could get sued. Oh, funny. Okay. So I'm probably not going to get sued, but, you know, I like to remind everybody, make sure your pen is completely dry before you erase your guides, because we don't need any snail tragedy this evening. All right, there's our little buddy. Hello, buddy. Oh, he's so cute. Okay, so he's all set to be colored and or shaded and whatever it is you want to do with your snail. I honestly don't have a clue what I want to do with my snail. So I think I'm just going to show you how you can shade this guy. And then you can choose your own colors and your shading and whatever. But I'm going to show you how to do the shading so that you at least get some dramatic shape out of this guy. So I think I'm going to use dark brown. I'll use a dark brown charcoal. And I'm going to follow all of the inside lines. Boy, that's a weird thing to say. But I'm going to put a little bit of charcoal right down here where all of the lines come together in his shell. And then I'm going to put a very thin line of charcoal right here. Can you, yep, you can see that. Okay, and I'm going to do it there and here and then here and here. And I suppose it should be here as well. So I don't know if you can tell what I'm doing, but I'm just following the snail's curve all the way around. So it's here, here, here. Then the very next line is this one. I'm just moving to the other side of the line. Kind of confusing, but once you try it, it kind of just makes sense. So then when I shade this, smooth out your line and pull it into the snail just a tiny bit. Smooth your line and pull it into your snail. You do not have to shade this the same way I am. Another way that you can shade this is if you put a very thin line of whatever your shading bit is and do it on each side of your drawn line and just stay out of the middle of the snail shell. Like make sure that you have a little bit in the middle of each section like that. I'm not explaining that very well, but I'll actually show it in just a second here. So this is the way that I shade. I shade in one direction. I put way too much here. So I'm actually gonna erase a little bit of my charcoal because yipes, man, I got a little heavy-handed with that section. And that back bit is so skinny that it's kind of covered. Okay, next place I'm going to shade is along the bottom of his shell, because this part of his body is going to be shaded. And then right around his eyeball stalk, the front and the back of it would have a little bit of shadow to it. And then inside his fin, where the head covers part of the fin, there would be a little tiny shadow. So I will, little tiny bits right there and there, and then I'll just do this all the way across the bottom. You can see I got really carried away. Way too much charcoal again. Heavy-handed, heavy-handed. But there's my guy. There's my snail. I am going to pull this one over and show you what the other way of shading your snail is. The one I was talking about in such a confusing way. Okay, so if this is the line that makes up his shell, you can follow that line and then you would smooth it out the same way you do every time, and then pull it into the snail shell in each direction. So I would pull it in this way and in this way and in this way and out this way, and I'm going to smooth it all the way around here, and then I'm going to pull it into the snail a little bit, and it would go onto his fin a little bit, and it would go into his body a little bit. There we go. That's a good way to get dimension. Just make sure that you leave this white stripe in the middle at least a little bit, because that's what makes the body part pop out at you. Okay. Does anybody need help with their snail? Would anybody like me to start over? Oh, Lindy, the best markers for doodling. You know what? It honestly does not matter at all. But I will show you what I have. So micron pens are really good because they dry quick and they don't seep, and they oh, and you can erase over and around them and they don't come up. This is a cheap brand of micron pens that I always recommend. It's called Bianyo, B-I-A-N-Y-O, and I have this in sepia, colors, and black. Oh, goodness sakes. That is completely unnecessary. Unnecessary. But I also have and use this. This is Crayola Kids markers. Because look at all the pretty colors, right? You can use crayons, watercolor pencils, whatever your favorite thingy is. You can use just a regular old pen and pencil. I'll show ya. So let's pick on one of our earlier snails. Let's do this guy right here. So I just drew this in pencil, right? I could just take a regular old ballpoint pen and go over the lines a few times and make them all smooth. Of course, then I completely fail at copying lines, but you do know what I mean, right? So I would just keep going over this until I got it nice and smooth the way I want it. And here's the fun thing about just using a ballpoint pen and a regular old pencil is that if you want to do shading, then put a line of graphite from your regular old pencil and just use your finger to spread it around, or a Q-tip or anything. Here, I'm going to be dramatic, but look how much that spreads out. It does shading just fine. If I do not have it here. I was going to say if I have it here, I'll show you some pictures I've done in just black and white. Totally doable. If you want to get really fancy, this pen I'm pretty happy with. Darcy told me about this. Uniball Signo pen. And this is in white. And this is great for putting highlights on stuff. Well, and then it doesn't work when I say that, but that's because I always get it gobbed up with too much chalk and charcoal. But look, I can put a white line on a black surface, so it's great for making highlights. Was that enough info, Lindy? Did I even answer the question? I just went off on a tangent, didn't I? I just went off on a tangent. Okay, so the reason I'm not really into doing my snail and getting him colored in today is because I'm really very excited for the next step. So if you are to this point and you're ready to move on, fine. But if you're not, keep working on your snail while I show you what's next, because there's words. There's a lot I'm going to show you, but it's all stupid easy. So I'll just leave the cheat sheet out and we can all look at it when I get these things demonstrated for you. So we're going to make our garden look like a fabulously unified garden tonight. We may or may not get it completely done, but I'm hoping that I give anybody and everybody tools to finish your garden or your snail picture or whatever it is you've decided to work on tonight in whatever degree. I hope I give you all the tools that you need to continue this on your own. So, one thing we're going to do is fill in the bottom of our garden or picture or whatever the case is with grass. And I'm going to show you one of the stupidest, easiest ways I do the grass at the bottom when I do these pictures. I just showed you the Crayola markers, right? Little kid markers. And I will take 3 colors for green grass and hold them all at once. I hold them all at once and I will pick up, oh goodness sakes. So it's not easy for me to hold 3 markers all at once, but I do. I get them all even and then hold them as best I can, and I will pick up my picture and go like this. Well, okay, I swear this works. Okay, like this. I will go like this all the way across the bottom of a picture. There we go. Now I got it. I got it. This is one way that I make grass. And I'm likely to do this tonight because it is one of my favorite ways to make grass across a picture. Okay. Then I'll show you another way. Oh, the silliness. Okay. Now, I'll take one of the markers this time and show you another way. This is another way that I often make grass across the bottom of a picture. And if you know a way that you like to do it, I mean, of course, certainly do your own thing, for sure. But for anybody who doesn't really know, okay, so now what, right? If you take a pen, a pencil, a marker like I am right now, this is probably going to do the concept really fat, and I don't really care for that, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. If I just take whatever I want to make my grass out of, and I make a bunch of letter U's, so letter U, right? And just join them together. Different sizes, different closenesses, they can bend a little, stuff like that. I can go all the way across my picture making bunches of letter U's. And then across the bottom where there's anything open, just fill that in. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you, is filling in the grass across the very bottom of our garden. Make this as full as you want. Make this as tall or as short as you want, but don't fill all the way in because we got something we're gonna do here. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is some little tiny grass fill-ins. Here's what I mean by that. I'm going to take one of my smaller brown pens, and I'm going to draw a plant we probably all recognize. At least when I saw it, I was like, oh, I pick those all the time. So I'm just going to go into my grass and pretend that maybe my snail is right here and it's kind of looking, you know, dead around him. So I filled in the grass, giving him a nice place to sit, but it's still looking pretty boring. I'm going to go and draw a stem like this, and maybe this plant has 2 stems, and maybe it's got another one right here. Here's all you do. Start about 2/3 of the way up the stem and do little tiny flicks off of the edge of the stem and a little bit up till you get to the top, and then go straight up and curve around and go down the other side. How stupid easy is that? And then I don't like the way I filled it in, so I'm just going to add some more. Little tiny flicks. All different sizes. It can look very furry and varied, but then do that on all 3 of these little branches. Follow the stem, flick out and up at an angle, and then around and go down the other side. Isn't this a weed that grows in everybody's backyard? I think this is pretty everywhere. There. Very nice. Look at that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, so now I'm going to say, well, I want a little bit of vegetation in my picture. So that's a fun little weed. I'm going to use that somewhere. But what if I want to add some color? So now I'm going to draw a little V coming out. Much shorter though. This one is barely taller than the grass. Just because I like it taller, just taller than the grass. You do yours how you wanna. But I'm going to add a color this time. So maybe orange. Maybe this little, whatever this is orange. I'm going to draw an almost circle. Just like so, on the top of each one. Almost a circle. And then in the tops, either the same color, a different color, whatever you want to do, but you're going to do that little flicking motion thing again, okay? So, oh, easy peasy, grapey squeezy. Grapey? Grape squeezy. You're going to do that little tiny flicky thing again to close off this berry thing. Like so. That's it. That's all you're going to do. Easy peasy, grape squeezy, rice and cheesy. What if I want to make it a fancy berry thingy? Maybe I could make little curly-Q leaves. I can make little curly-Q leaves if I want. Okay. Let's do another kind. Completely nondescript something just to fill space. So I'm going to take a green marker and I'm going to wiggle up and around, and then just put a little dot at the end of each one for no reason whatsoever. I don't know what kind of plant that is or isn't, but it's a plant and it goes right there. Okay, let's say you're feeling fancier. Remember, you're not supposed to be keeping up with all these things. You keep working on your snail, coloring your snail if you want, or just kind of watch what I'm doing for right now. So let's say I want to be a little fancier. I'm going to draw a stem for a small flower. I'm going to choose a color for a small flower, and I'm just going to make a teardrop. And then I'm going to put it in a bit of a cup. So I'm going to make a swirl out that side. Whoops. And apparently make it really fat. There we go. And then swirl out the other side. I'm just going to make little tiny flowers like that. And if you want to put a leaf on your little tiny flower, go ahead, put little tiny leaves on your little tiny flower. Oh my. Oh my. If you want to get even more whimsical and a bit silly, there's a variation on this. So I'll do it over here. But I'm going to do some swirly kind of stems, and then I'm going to get super silly. So a little bit down from the top, but not too much. I'm going to just spiral and get start big as I want, right? And then just get smaller and smaller. So if you want total whimsy and something that is not a plant at all, do a bunch of these and they just look adorable. Nope. Alrighty, now what? Oh, okay, how about that guy? Let's draw this one. Oh, let's pull out a few colors. So these little tiny things I'm showing right now are not supposed to be very detailed, but it certainly doesn't mean you can't. So what if I do a bigger one laying in the grass like so? A stem with some big fat leaves out to the side, and then I'm going to do the next part is 3 little pointy bits, I don't know, like that, and then another teardrop flower. So very much like this, just a different holder. So maybe it's just a flower bud like so. I'm going to show just a couple more of these. I'm not going to explain them very much because they are very self-explanatory. These are just called stem toppers. So you can just go like this. Again, in any colors you want, whatever, right? You can just go, pretend this is shorter because these are supposed to be little things. But it's basically the same concept I just did, just roundier. What if you want to stick to that fancy garden business? What if you go like this and make a big tall flower and give it some big fat curly cues down here? What else have we got? Oh, here's one. basically I've already done this, but if you just take that teardrop shape and make it long and skinny, draw your stem, put a little cup at the top of your stem, and then just make it taller, like so, and do this in a little grouping. There. If you want total whimsy and stuff that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, you know what else you could be doing while you're watching me make all these little things? You could be putting your grass in. Make your grass choice, pick up your cards one by one, and start putting your grass in the very bottom. Okay, I think I'm just going to show 2 more of these and then give us some time to actually work on this. So if you wanted total whimsy, some stuff that makes no sense whatsoever, but in a magical garden, it is whatever you want. Make a stem, put a circle at the top, and then put some smaller dots down the side. Or a steampunk version of that. Well, maybe that is too, but maybe something a little more industrial. It is a little globe at the top and some squares down the middle, like so. Okay, I was wrong. One more. Where do I put it though? Look, I've got a crowded little garden now. I'm going to do it right here. There's 2 branches on this, whatever it is I'm making. And here's what you do. You put a circle a little bit down from the top, and then like so, and then a couple out the bottom as well. Whoops, I kind of missed the spot. Anyway, like that. It's a plant with some berries. Okay. There is a whole bunch of little fill-ins for our yard. But there's more. So, well, hello, Angela. You like the little doodles? All right, so I'm going to pull out my garden cards. And I'm going to start at the beginning of my garden. Let me put them in order. 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to choose my grass style. And I'm going to do the 3 marker version because I think it's a hoot. And it makes me feel like a very free little kid. And it's so no fuss, it's ridiculous. So, rawr, come on. All right, so I'm going to take my 3 markers and I'm going to do whatever I can to get them even. Yep, and now I'm just gonna go to town, just like I did on the practice paper, right? I'm just gonna go, whoo, like so. Why are they at such a weird angle? Apparently the wind is blowing the grass at a weird angle in my picture. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's 1, and that's all I'm doing for the grass at the bottom, for all of them. So here's number 2. I like the way when I do this, you can hear it kind of scrape on the card, right? And that means it's putting a nice edge on the very bottom. And I really like that. This whole bottom gets done the way I like it anyway. And then other bits are much more airy toward the top. Here's a little scary, but I'm going to have this bird sitting in the grass. And this guy's standing in the grass, so I kind of want to be careful. but it's gonna work, I swear. All right. I still have my grass only going one, all leaning one way. All right, 4, 5. 5 is a little trickier still because we've got these all the way down to the bottom and these are sitting up here. So I'm gonna need some taller grasses here. I'm actually gonna do it the exact same way though, because then it'll just end up looking like it's taller grass or a hill. So I'm going to put a little up high enough, and then I'm going to do the rest the same way I did all the other cards. And if you're doing the U-shaped grass, just do a little U-shaped segment under anything that's sitting higher. Again, it looks like a hill, and when we fill in other bits, it'll all come together really nicely. There's my grass, and last one. So now my snail is going to be sitting in the grass. Make him comfy cozy. It to be I think mine is not as filled in as I would like it to be, but I will fill in more after I have those little tiny grasses in place. So let's take a look at what we got. How did my camera get that low? Let's pull that out further again. Okay, there we go. All right, there's my garden so far. And if you are just following along today and did the snail, your snail should be now sitting in the grass. It is a windy day. It's apparently blowing that way. So you can see where the grass is a little too sparse. I don't want to fill it in more than this right now because of what I said and because of all these little guys, right? So if you are following along and have done any of this so far, get your grass in place and then choose a handful of these. Any ones that you like, and any place in here that feels sparse, go ahead and add little tiny bits and pieces to your picture. One of the things that I keep forgetting is that I want my vine to have those berries hanging from it because these birdies eat the berries. So I'm going to take this little plant right here, and I'm going to turn that into the berries on my vine. So I'll take my green pen and I'll do the same thing, right? It's got a double little branch thing. I'll just do it droopy down variety. And I think I'm going to do pink. And I'm going to do the same thing and almost circle. And then fill in with just little flicks. Like so. And I will do this all along the vine. This is why I said I'm setting you guys up to do stuff that you can finish up on your own, in your own time, because whatever details you want to add. Maybe you don't want to add any, or maybe you want to add a lot. So don't think that tonight we're going to get everything all the way done. What you really want to do is maybe see which of these little grasses you like, and then put those in place so you remember what they are and how to do them and that kind of jazz, so that you can work on this again later. Let me see what time it is. 8:30. Okay. Let me show you why. Okay, now I'm going to just be a pain in the rump roast. I'm not being a good teacher tonight. I apologize, because I'm going to move this aside for a minute and show you another handful of stuff. You guys work on your little grasses and your lawn and whatever you want, and I'm going to show you another batch of things that you might want to put in your picture. Can you tell I'm excited about this part? Can you hear it in my voice? Okay. First of all, we might need bees, because our flowers and berries and such need pollinators. So we might need bees. So I'm going to show you how to turn a teardrop into a bee. There's a teardrop shape. Oh my goodness. Maybe that's why I pulled in so far, because you can't see what the heck I'm doing way out there. There we go. There's a teardrop shape. And I'm going to just turn it into a bee by going like this and like this. And then I'm going to draw some lines like so, and get out a black marker. Where's my little tiny black one? This one's tiny enough. Bees are always good to have. You love my excitement? I hope it's contagious. You guys should be excited for your gardens. I hope you are excited for your gardens. There's my bee. There's my bee. And he needs an eyeball. Boy, you can't get any simpler than that, can you? But that's it. That's all there is to them. If you want a little bit of a different bee, start with a circle. Then we're going to kind of put a vase under him, right? So he's going to go in, have a big fat body, go in, and have a skinny neck. Okay, I did a little exaggerated so you can see what I'm doing. Mine might look a little extra funny. I also messed up my lines, so he's gonna have a big, heavy-duty outlined body. It's okay. There are no mistakes in doodling. Just go with whatever happens. Just go with it. Okay, so here's this kind of bee. And he needs a stinger. Or actually, she does, I guess, right? I don't remember how bees work. I also don't seem to remember which way I like my stripes to go, but there's a stripe, and there's a stripe, and there's a stripe, and then it needs wings, so just go out that way and out that way. There's another kind of bee. Bees need some yellow. I may be a little over sloppy on this one, but I'm trying to hurry through some stuff so I can show you all these. Oh, this bee can be turned into a firefly. Let me show you a firefly quick. So if you take a circle and draw basically that same body, but you're gonna pull the oh gosh, let me just do it and show you. You're gonna draw something like so, like a little hill. And then the opposite on the bottom. And make this bottom a little curvy, because fireflies don't come to such a point. But a couple antennae out the front, and then dragonfly wings are really what make it different. So they have a rather firm, thin wing first, and then under it they have a big fancy wing. I don't know why my bugs are getting progressively larger, but there's my firefly. And I could put a big glowy butt, because fireflies have big glowy butts. Okay. A couple of dragonflies. Dragonflies are a fabulous thing. I'll show you the easiest, no fuss dragonfly I know. Draw a circle. Very small one. And then out from that circle, toward the back, some long flicks where you push your pen down a little bit and then pull it up as you pull away. So watch this. Like, whoops, that one didn't do long enough. Like that. And then do 2 of those toward the back. On the bottom side, I'm going to do 2, but pull them back only a little bit, like so, and like so. And out the top, I'm going to do 2 of those forward. Flick and flick. Okay, this might not look like a dragonfly to you, but I swear it is. And then we're going to put some wings on him. Okay, I didn't do his wings very good. Poor guy. Poor guy. Let me do it again faster and bigger, I guess. I didn't mean to do so big, but flick out the back and whoops. Flick out the back. Down and back for legs because he's flying. Up and forward because his antennae stick out the front of his head, and then some dragonfly wings. It's a silly bug, but it works for me. I'll show you a flying butterfly that's pretty frickin' easy. Flippin' easy. Pretty easy. Another circle. For his body, just a coil. And then the big part of the wing and the smaller part of the wing. And then maybe just do kind of an aura inside. Antennae. Hi, Lisa. Oh. You don't think there are any fireflies in Australia? I wonder if that's true. It could be. How about a ladybug? So ladybugs are ridiculous easy. I don't really think I need to show you how to draw ladybugs. So this is just a reminder that ladybugs are a good option. Ladybugs are always a good option. If you're going for full-on whimsy, I'm going to introduce you to one of my favorite bugs. That isn't a bug I've ever seen in anything real life. So I start with an oval and fill it in. And then I'm going to go around this oval and start a coil. And then I'm just going to coil this off as if it were a body. There's my bug. I'm going to give him some antennae. There's my bug. It's some kind of worm or caterpillar or something. Whoops. Oh my gosh. I know you don't have squirrels. That's a bummer. But kangaroos, I mean, really. Okay, so there is a dragonfly that is right along the same lines as this bug and this butterfly. Start with a head and a very long swirl. And then the wings for this guy are kind of a figure 8. Out and in, out and in, out and in, out and in. Okay, not kind of a figure 8, but literally 2 figure 8s. Okay, there is another version of my coil bug. I'll draw my coil bug again, just because you can draw him with really no eyeball, but a curly Q body and some fancier antennae. Apparently, I liked to do that once upon a time too. He's a very fancy bug. There. I don't know what that is, but there you go. There's one of those. What else have we got? Okay, if you want to add some stuff to your vine, but not berries like I did. Wow, I am just... Hold on a second, guys. I've completely just wrecked my camera. Okay. I'm going to show you a couple of things quick. So we have this. Little critters to add life to our picture, right? These could be sitting in any plant or any vine or, you know, somewhere alongside all of the friends we've added to our garden. Oh, and I put it, oh, I didn't mean to do that. We have all the little grasses. And then here's some other little fill-ins just for empty spaces. You can do bubbles. So I can just make a pile of bubbles and then fill in gaps around these bubbles. I might do this just to show you how it looks in a picture, because for those of you who are not familiar with this sort of doodle, you might be going, why would I want to put a bunch of circles in my picture? I swear it's a lovely little fill-in. You could do little weeds or grasses like so. You know, I like the swirly things, so I will probably do some stuff like this. This is basically just a piece of a plant that we have done before, and you can make it pointier, like so. Very much like the stuff we were doing earlier. You can do a combination of the bubbles and the swirls and the leaves to make this little thing. Now, what in the world would you do this for? Well, just because it would make a fun little accent. Maybe all along your vine. Maybe just on the ends. Maybe just in the bird, where the birds are. Maybe this is part of where the birds live in their nest or something like that. Who knows? There's a favorite one of mine, although that one's really difficult to do, and I didn't do it justice right there. What if you do a cute little leaf with one stem and a dot at the end? Oh my goodness. What if you do a series of the bubbles across the top in parts? And then do swirly things dangling from the bubbles. I think that's quite enough options. But little grasses, little decoration bits, and I'm sorry I put these guys on the back of the flower or the grasses because I wanted you to be able to, you know, look at all of them and pick some out and draw them and add them to your garden. So tell me if you need me to flip this back over, but I am going to pull back my very first tag and demonstrate some of this stuff that we just talked about. So I did say that I wanted the berries coming out of my vine, so I'll do a couple of those quick. I'll put one right there. I'll put a double one right there. Another double one and one by itself. And I guess that's all I'll do right now because I want to get to more things. An almost circle and the little tiny bits. It's sort of pomegranate-ish. You know the way pomegranates have that little thing at the top? I have some of those little berries in place. I definitely want to connect those to the vine a little better, so I'm going to just make the stems a little fatter at the tops. Just because I like it that way. You don't have to do that. Totally not necessary. And then I'm going to add some little tiny leaves that are separate from the bigger leaves on the vine. I don't know why I think this vine grows two different size leaves, but maybe the berries on this vine have little tiny versions. I don't know. I mean, apparently that's the truth. Then I definitely want a bee in this department because I think a little yellow bee would look fabulous in here. So, which bee do I want is the question. Oh, Connecticut. Lisa. Kangaroos, but they don't have any road sense. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Deer. Here the deer are like that. I'm not in Connecticut, but there's deer in Minnesota too, and they're not always very smart. All right, so I need a bee. Where should he be? Do I want him right on the flower? Huh. I think I might. No, I want him right here. And I think I'm just going to do that super simple teardrop kind. Oh, and it's a big, big bee. Goodness sakes, what am I thinking, man? Okay, there's my little bee. I mean, he needs some yellow. He needs some yellow. And he needs some wings. Should I put a smiley face on him? I don't think I'm gonna, but that would be pretty funny. I'll just give him an eyeball. There. There! I have a bee. I don't like the angle of my bee. I think he's going in for a nosedive. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't know. He's very excited about this flower he found, I guess, right? I think I also want one of my little curly Q, not actually bugs. And I think I want it right down here on this leaf. And I think I'm going to do it in blue. Blue? No, brown. A brownish orange color. So I'm going to do a little, nope. Okay, never mind. I just thought of something really gross. So we're not having a brown one. We're going back to that blue color. I don't know which way I want him facing though. Shoot. Shoot, rats. Okay, I guess I'll have him facing this way. There. There's my funny wiggle bug sitting on a leaf. Now, I need to fill in the grasses on this first block. So I'm going to flip the bugs over and figure out which grasses I want. If you want me to flip it back to the bug department, tell me and I will totally do so. Oh yeah, no problem. I mean, how would you know? You're on the other side of the planet, for crying out loud. Honestly, if you knew all the state's abbreviations, I would be amazed. Let's see. I think I will do a little grass right there. And I'm going to do that. I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to do this one. And just for balance, I think I will do another one of those. Where I'm going to put it kind of in the background. So I'm going to do it right here, but I'm going to have it go behind that leaf. So I'll just pick up my pen where it tucks behind the leaf and then finish it. What else could I put in here? It's starting to look pretty crowded, really. It's starting to look pretty crowded. So I'm going to show you the very, very last thing. So remember I told you this would all come together, right? So put in the grasses, put in the taller grasses, put in the little kind of critters. However you want to fill in the blank spaces that we left. Oh, here, I'm going to add one more. I'm going to add that little plant right there because it kind of looks... It kind of looks like a baby one of this flower. So I'm going to go ahead and add that because it looks like a little flower bud. There. I'll leave that right there. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Fill in your little grasses and your little critters and whatever details you want. And then go back and fill in sparse places on the grass. So after I'm done doing all this little added stuff, I will go in and add, here, let me pick this up. I will go in and add little flicks of maybe taller bits like so to fill in all those spaces. And I might just use one of the colors like I am right here. I might go back and fill in the other colors too, but maybe I want things brighter. And then I'll just add this color. Like so. Maybe I want to do things thinner. Like I did this with marker, so it's all pretty thick. But what if I want some little flyaway grasses sticking up? So I have these other marker pens. And maybe there's some... Okay, it's not working. Okay, maybe I want to do some flyaway grasses to make it feel more like a wildflower meadow, perhaps? Because that sounds like where I would want to be, in a wildflower meadow. Like so. The only thing I would say to remember is which markers, colors, etc. did you choose? Because I'll bet you anything, I will forget what I've done in this one and what I've used. And then when I go to the other squares, I won't be able to make it look the same because I won't remember what it was. How did I just get a big green lump in the middle of my flower? Look at that. I don't know what I did. It's even dry. Okay, last thing. So, grass. Small grasses, small critters. Fill in the rest of the grass. This is my last thing that I will do on all of my squares, is create something that feels like sky. So this is my blue charcoal. And if you have a blue pencil of some sort or a blue crayon and want to do this same kind of thing, you don't need a blue charcoal to do it. You can do this any way that you choose. And you don't have to do this at all. And, oh, you could do it in yellow if you want yours to be all sunshiny. So I'm going to put a line of my charcoal all around the sides, right? Not this center one, because that's where the pages of our little booklet will meet up. And then I'm going to do this the same way I do everything else, by smoothing out the charcoal and then pulling it down into the picture a bit. And I could leave it just at this, but I'm not going to because I overfuss. So overfuss if you want to, like I'm going to show you in just a second, or don't do this at all, or anything in between. The detail bits are really what make it very personally yours, right? So I have that hint of a sky thing going on, and I just want to add to it. So I'm going to go and put this in several places around the main flower, the main thing in whatever block I'm working on. Like so. Okay, so now I'm going to do the exact same thing. Smooth out my charcoal and pull it into the picture. And in this case, I'm doing it right over this plant right here that's back here, right? And I will do it right over some other parts as well, because the plant would make shadows on it, like right over the stem. This would make a shadow too, so I'm putting a shadow on the stem right there. I don't think I'm going to shadow on the bee though, because he's very little and I don't want to obscure him. I want him to shine. And then I'll just go pulling this blue however far it will actually go. Charcoals will pull pretty far into a picture and just keep fading and fading and fading. So I'm not technically coloring in the whole picture, right? But I potentially am, if I'm just letting it go as far as it will. Okay. Minus the great big blob in the center of my picture, there is my first page of my book. I will continue to smooth this stuff out. I will figure out ways to obliterate that green blob. Maybe that'll be another bug. Etc. What do you think? Hi, Sarah. No, Sarah, I think that's totally you could. If you wanted to do distress inks to do the edges, all of those techniques would totally work, because you could totally just do the flicking thing where you're only getting a tiny bit of the edge, or you could blend it in and blend it down. The only thing you'd want to make sure of is if you use anything like this charcoal or any plain pencil in the picture, make sure you seal it first, because those inks then could just make a bunch of mud, right? But if you have a lot of these, permanent liner pens, those are perfect to go with distress inks. So there's page 1, and it's pretty done. Shade, detail, etc. yours to whatever degree you want. But this is what it looks like. Anybody have any questions? If anybody's following along tonight, how is your journey going? I'm going to add a little flower shadow right here, because I want this flower to look more in front of the other flower. So I'm going to put a little of my dark charcoal, dark red color, right there. And of course I put way too much. I'm glad charcoal is so forgiving. I'm glad charcoal is so forgiving, because I don't know how to be careful. Not in my vocabulary. All right. I didn't know how to do tonight's stuff in a smaller way. So I am sorry that it got a little much, showing all these things in one night. But here's the reason, is because your finishing touches should be whatever you like best. So I thought it would be really good to show a lot of examples of stuff and just let you pick and choose among them. I'm sorry if this method tonight didn't really work for you. I wasn't really sure how to go about it, so I apologize if this was too hectic. I hope it wasn't. If you are following along, either just doing today's snail picture, or if you're doing the whole thing or some version of, and you want to remember all these steps, I recommend that you write them all down. Grass, small plants and animals, finish the grass, and then shading. So that you remember all the steps for each one. I like stuff. Hello, the messy palette. Adria, right? No? Is that it? Oh, shoot. The messy palette. Oh. The replay is totally. That's right, Diane. Yeah, the replays are all available. So if you want to catch up and do the whole thing, or if you just want to remember all these little bits, replays. Okay, so I'm going to add all of those details to all of those thingies. And it's almost closing time, so I will take any questions. I remember now, but only because Darcy gave it away. Hi, Diane. Oh, gosh, I was trying hard though, wasn't I? I was trying. How is your Thursday afternoon, Diane? Oh, goodness sakes. And have you met Lisa? She's from your side of the planet. Maybe you're neighbors and don't even know it. Oh, goodness. So, what is everybody going to do with the rest of their week and weekend? I personally am going to be filming a lot because it's Finish It February and I haven't kept up with my own event. But, oh, wait, look what I have done. I've gone through some of the journals that need to be finished and packed them full of the supplies I'm going to finish them with. And I just dumped one of them all over the floor. Of course I did. Oy. But this one is in really rough shape. And obviously I hated the stuff I had on the cover because it's all ripped to shreds. So I have a whole new cover planned. All new stuff. And some things to unify the old design with the new design. So I have those two to finish, and this one to finish, and 2 envelope journals to finish. Not to mention, I want to finish Defemorember, and I have a lap book that I've never made before that turned out to be a big mess that I need to finish. Suffice it to say, I have plenty of filming material for videos coming up, but I think I have more than just a single February. You're possibly going to have your first ice snow event. Oh. We don't have as many as we used to either, but we're in a cold snap here. I don't think it's going to get above 0 tomorrow. And you got 10 inches yesterday. Good grief. I love those days. Good night, Leslie. I hope you had fun. You'll have to show me what you ended up with. By the way, Leslie, just to let you know, your gnome colors got mixed up again. But you need to come and make sure that we have them right. I think we do. And then we're going to start it when you're here because your gnome has been neglected and messed up enough times. Anywho, yeah, I think the high tomorrow is -3 or -6 or something like that. Or maybe it's above 0. Maybe it's 3. Not -3. But yeah, we're in a bit of a cold snap. My cats are so mad. They think it's all my fault. Oh, snow is beautiful, isn't it? You know what's the most beautiful? Ice storms. But holy buckets, they're so dangerous. Bye, Kiki. I hope you had a fabulous dinner. All right, I guess I'm going to skedaddle too. We're done for the day. I don't see any questions. I don't have any information other than I have a lot of filming to do. Next week, we're going to start the second half of our book. So if you have not been following along with the first bit and you want to do an accordion kind of thing, the second 5 will be starting next week, and it'll be a great time to join in. I've got it all planned. I got the whole second half planned. I'm pretty happy with it. I hope you guys are too. Okay. Good night. See you next time. Bye, everybody.